Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are filming the Q&A for Greg and I. It's mostly about Greg, and I debated doing this as a live stream, and we got a pretty big vote on it actually. It was 123 people voted, and 56% of y'all wanted an actual video.
And thank you for voting.
Yeah.
That was a nice little...
123 people?
Nice little turnout.
That's amazing. I didn't expect that many people to vote.
I don't even know that many people.
I also didn't expect that many people to want an actual video because I think it's that the quality sucks on live streams.
We need a new webcam.
We do. We got a pretty cheap,
Patreon, y'all.
Patreon, if you want a new webcam. Right. That'd be great. We got little Jazzy sitting down here in the frame, kind of. You'll see her little ears. And we got a lot of questions, so let's get into it. You know the drill. Before we do it, go ahead and like this video. It's completely free. It doesn't hurt you at all. And you can change your mind if you dislike this later. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We put videos out a lot. I put videos out a lot.
All the time.
Like, I would say fucking weekly now, for sure. Like, at least 2 weeks in a row.
And every time you say that,
I'm good.
don't say it.
I put videos out a lot, and I don't know.
Whenever I want.
Yeah, whenever I want, so there's no upload schedule, so go ahead and turn that bell notification on so you don't miss any videos. Charming. I got dog hair everywhere. It's on my lip.
Yes.
I can feel it. Ugh.
Jazzy.
Okay, love
Rude.
you. Love you, bye.
See ya. Only so much one can take.
Okay, so these aren't going to be in order of anything. They're really just questions that we got, and
So many questions.
Yeah, I couldn't sort them all. Like, I could do them in order of importance, but...
That's a lot of extra work.
So, we're going to start with, this one. This is the most recent one I got. Do you feel physical pain when you see someone get hurt? Like, if you're watching a fail video, if you're watching someone get kicked in the balls...
Yeah, so so it depends. Like, not every time, not without fail. I kind of almost have to be in the mood to but after so long, I do viscerally feel like you don't have balls, but there's this feeling that you get in your balls that is it hurt. Yes, I feel that when I see gruesome things.
This is kind
I'm
of...
not totally that desensitized.
Yeah, this is kind of unrelated, but if I were to describe a fresh cut lemon to you and have you think about how yellow and juicy it is, and you can see it and you can smell it, and if you take a bite, can you kind of
no.
Do you ever have that? If I think about a lemon hard enough, I can...
reaction?
If I think about a lemon hard enough, I can get almost a mouth-watering feel.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I did a poor job describing it.
Not really. Sure. That was quite a good description of a lemon.
Oh, thanks.
I saw it. I just didn't taste it.
I knocked my headband off. Yeah, see, I can't really see it.
Yeah.
But that's another video.
Totally different.
The next part of that question was, can you, if you witness horror movies and you have a particularly gruesome, gory scene, does that cause any type of flinch, reaction?
I actually horror. I love... I love horror movies, but I actually have a hard time watching them. I get very I have a strong reaction to almost jump scares. The build and the crescendo will always get me every time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then what about sad movies?
Sad movies, there have been sad movies that I've cried at. I cried at Armageddon when I was young, younger. It's not it can't touch me, but those are usually pretty deliberate, staged to specifically tug on your heartstrings. I guess. Can
you think of the last TV show, movie, whatever that made you cry or tear up? Podcast?
Oh man, I listened to the last podcast on the 9/11 episode today. That's probably what gave me my anxiety attack, but that made me choke up a bunch of times because man. That's horrible.
Yeah.
So it's not, yeah.
I know, but that's a normal reaction, and I would tear up too.
It was bad. Oh, God.
Okay.
I don't know why I did that to myself either.
Well, it's nice to know that you can make yourself feel. I think people would like to know that.
I just have to go to, the extreme with it, I think. You know what I mean? It's a lack of affect. It's not complete range.
I tried to say
total.
to someone that you have the full range of emotions, you just don't feel them as deeply.
Right. Yes, that's a good descriptor.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into some of the questions on the tab. Greg, if Megan were in a horrific traffic accident resulting in her not being able to move, communicate, or even comprehend, would you stay by her side, or would you view her as not useful to you anymore? I'll read the rest of it later.
Okay. I like to think that I would give it a shot, like for sure. Can
you say why? Why not? Like what you're willing to do, like what you think you would do?
So I don't know. I am already like our relationship dynamic is such that I serve you more or less.
He waits on me hand and foot.
I get you you know what I mean? That's just kind of how we do things. So that's not that different. It's an extreme version of that.
I think it would be what if not able to communicate? It's like you're not getting much out of that. Okay, go ahead, you give your answer. I have something to add to that.
That's like, I don't know, man. That's pretty crazy. Like, that would be very difficult. And I don't know what you, like...
We've communicated to each other before that if anything like that were to happen, if I were to die, I would want him to remarry. I would want him to have a relationship. So if I were to literally be like a vegetable, if I would have you in my life, I don't think I would be capable of feeling much. I don't know what kind of life I would want to live like that. I don't know if I would want to be alive like that.
That's like the toughest decision you would ever have to make for anyone. Much like
if I were able to obviously respond and communicate in some way, I wouldn't want you having a girlfriend. You know what I mean? But if I were like, I understand. Like, I don't want him to be miserable for the rest of his life. And what kind of miserable life would that be for me, being stuck in a bed? I don't know. I
get what they were like. I think I get what they were getting at with the question. But I don't think I'm any more likely than anyone else to abandon their partner in tragedy.
The reason I think they're asking is because people keep saying, I'll go to the other question. It's like that...
As soon as you're not useful, I would bounce.
Yeah, that you'll discard... She really thinks this dude really won't leave her once she stops benefiting him. Like that when you're done with me, you'll discard me.
For one, there's no way for you to ever stop benefiting me completely. Like, there's enough that comes from my end that, like, that's not an issue, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like... I do. You could stop doing anything I wanted you to do, and I feel like I would still be okay.
I wouldn't go that far. I think that it has to be a two-way street. Yeah. And okay, so you mean stop doing the extra stuff that I do just for you specifically? Correct. Yeah, I am as a person. I got it. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, no, I agree. And I would support you. I'd hold it down. The next part of that question says, what if the same were to happen to your child? What if you had another child already born severely disabled like that? Hands down.
They just need more help. Like that. Yeah. That's I'm not heartless.
And special needs is something that my mom's a retired special education teacher, so physical and learning disabilities are nothing. They're nothing different. They're just disabled.
And like I have more empathy for people who suffer more than the most. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The more vulnerable.
The more I care about them.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Strangely enough. So, like, I kind of contextualizes the whole question.
Because you also know...
You know what I mean? Like, the more you rely on me, I don't know.
He likes being relied on. He likes helping people. Yeah. Okay, then the next part of their question was, does one of your parents or siblings have ASPD?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
I think your parents are neurotypical.
Yeah, and my dad maybe slightly neuroatypical.
Yeah, but not ASPD.
No, not at all. He's a military man, like, for 20-some years. Yeah. It's been very not.
And then it just said your parents, and siblings.
My sister had something. Don't know what. She
She passed away in 2015.
Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, never had an official diagnosis. Would have gotten something.
She had substance abuse disorder.
Yeah.
She suffered greatly from physical and emotional abuse from her husband.
Yeah, that was rough.
We don't know. Depression.
Never really. Yeah, we'll never know the full extent of it, but I have educated guesses that we can go further into in something else.
Yeah, we want to make a video about Jenna, but we just haven't yet, so we want to do it justice.
Yeah.
We've talked about Jenna. I've talked about her, but it'll come. It'll be beautiful like her. What about your child?
I mean, no, it's just a little early for that.
Yeah, he would have to display conduct disorder, which he is so sweet. He says no thank you, and he's so empathetic. He gets a little rough with the puppies, but he understands. Do I think he has problems with consequences and seeing and learning from a consequence? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think that's because he has an ASPD or will have conduct disorder? No. I think he's just neuroatypical. He has sensory processing disorder. His brain runs a little fast. His body moves too fast for him.
And it's up to us to be the best that we can be and adjust to being taught how he needs to learn and not how we think he needs to learn or should learn.
So normally you enforce a consequence like timeout or something, and the child is supposed to learn from that consequence. Emerson does not learn that well from consequences. He thinks they're funny. It becomes
another game to him.
Yeah. It's what we've learned to do, or what we've tried really hard, Greg kind of took the lead on this one, is we will sit him down in timeout, let him try and sit quietly. Usually that doesn't work, so we will sit and talk with him. Greg will sit down and make him say, I did this wrong. I'm sorry for doing this. This is why this is bad.
Yeah, make sure he understands why we are where we are. Because I think in where you could kind of expect another child to maybe know that this is why they're being punished. If I don't look him in the eyes and be like, no, this is what it is. Please tell me, you have to repeat back to me so I know that you understand. Because that is how we know he understands.
Yeah, he pushed Jazzy off of a little ramp that we have, and she didn't get hurt, but we sat him in timeout. Greg sat down with him and he said, did the eye contact and basically made him repeat after him and say, I'm sorry, what did you do wrong? I pushed Jazzy off of the ledge. Why was that bad? Because she could have gotten hurt, and then he made him go apologize to Jazzy.
Yeah.
And it works really well. It has done really well so far.
It's the best thing we've got so far.
The making eye contact thing is huge though. We just have to adapt to him.
Cannot assume he hears me if I don't look him in the eye and
have him repeat
visually confirm.
Yeah.
Because he'll talk to me without looking at me and hear none of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not reading the names for these questions just out of respect. I'm sorry if you guys expected me to. I just don't know if anyone ever doesn't want their name put in it.
Yeah. So let us know if it would be a problem if we did read your names with them.
Yeah, going forward, because that would be nice. Because I would like to shout you guys out.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure that I'm respecting.
It is a public username, so.
Yeah, but
I know. I get where the pause is coming from. I agree.
Okay, so the next question is: having suffered the experience of a 7-year relationship with someone with ASPD and being the child of a psychopath, I am all too familiar with the behavior that comes with the territory. Megan, how can you ever trust that if Greg became upset with you, that he'd be honest about the fact, and not begin operating against you behind your back while cuddling up to you at night and professing his love for you? Yes, he may apologize or accept your apology after an argument, but how can you trust his sincerity? I would say that it's not in what he says, it's what he does. And Greg chooses to do a lot of things that reinforce this. He purposely puts boundaries on his social relationships so that he limits himself. He's not going out doing a whole bunch of things. We also have, he's around me a lot. More often than not, Greg is with me. We spend time apart, but we know where each other is, and usually we're with family if we're apart. That's just what we do. I work, from home all day alone. I go out and do whatever I want during the day, but he's at work. And then in the evenings, we come home, make dinner. We have a lot of the same shared hobbies. Like we're going rock climbing on Saturday, we're going to my sister's birthday or my dad's birthday party tonight at my sister's. Like we go out and socialize, but we do things as a family primarily. Most of the time it's like, if you're going out somewhere, you're going with Emerson.
Yeah.
Where he's riding bikes with Emerson.
Yeah.
He's taking him to the park, going to the mountain bike trails. I can
That's
tell after so many years of it, you can see the shift in his demeanor.
As sneaky as I think I am, I'm not that sneaky.
But you don't really try that hard. You've never tried hard to hide it. You do and you
it
don't.
Comes from the lack of like.
It's like you just.
I don't think you would pick. I guess I assume you won't see a text message or what have you. Like, and I leave my phone right side up.
Yeah. When he was being bad, he would flip his phone over.
Always.
It's like really simple things like that. But I'm a fucking super sleuth.
Yeah. Now you know to look for them.
Yeah.
Like,
I could just.
But then
he got caught cheating.
Now I know them, so I would. No, I don't. It's not worth all the effort.
It would be a shift in behaviors. It would just. I would notice the change in behaviors. It would take a lot for you to go out and meet someone. Like, when the fuck would you do it?
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
But I caught Greg cheating with the other Megan because he sent me a picture of this little girl. I missed my doggies, and I said, "Can you send me a picture of the dogs?" We were both out of town actually. I thought he was at home, and he sent me a picture of Jazzy with her nails painted, and I had put puppy dog nail polish on it like months prior. And he didn't notice and sent it to me, and I knew right away. So, like, he's not that good.
Yeah.
And I knew who it was with right away because he had a Spotify playlist with this other girl's name, which I had recognized from Instagram. Like, I'm really good at connecting patterns. But honestly, I think that I would notice the shift because we have such a connection that you would have to draw back and dial it back from us.
Right. I don't have, like, you would notice you would have
the
to
energy
notice
shift.
The change. Yeah.
Like he cooked us dinner every night, you know what I mean? Like he would be less involved. You'd have to be less
you would
involved
see
to
me
have
texting a whole bunch or like there would be some kind of giveaway.
There are nights when I communicate too much to my subscribers or I'm commenting a lot and I can feel myself like I have to kind of pull back on us or my family to focus my energy on that. So if I have to do that, like imagine having a whole other relationship when I'm just texting these people as friends, like for fun. So the next part of the question is, Greg, I don't know you, so I'm just making assumptions of your capability based on your diagnosis for the purpose of this question. Sorry, nothing personal, personal. P.S. Greg, how are you able to maintain the discipline to resist the urges to give in to behaviors like pathological, compulsive lying, thrill-seeking, etc.?
Well, I indulge them in slightly healthier ways now. Like, mountain biking is kind of thrill-seeking behaviors, you know what I mean? Like, the lying thing, like, that just, I don't know why I stopped lying. I used to be way worse with it, and
you have to lie about everything, like anything and everything. You just come out of his mouth. You still say when you are so honest now that you check yourself, like
usually immediately. I don't know. I just went. I know I can't stop shifting. I don't know.
When is the last time that? Because you do lie. You do lie, but you get to do play pretend with Emerson. You know what I mean? Like you're still you're still using your that's what lying is. It was your imaginative world.
That's a good. I like.
We get to tell him stories about the creek monster that lives out back, and we put cones on the car.
Right.
And the creek monster was outside. Did you see what he did to Daddy's car?
The creek creature.
And then he goes on. They go on like scavenger hunts and stuff. So I think that might be part of it. Like you get to explore that more.
Yeah.
Just a theory.
It is like I like that a lot actually. That's.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a good question. Do you know any movies or TV shows that you feel portray ASPD correctly? I don't. I've been thinking so hard about this. Because there's a TV show about a stalker on Netflix called You, but that's more like narcissism. That's like a full-blown,
like the
crazy...
Like an accurate... I'm going to take back to the last podcast. Their episode on Charles Manson, like, Manson's probably not the best example because, like, he was kind of crazy. But he's almost textbook ASPD. Like, that's the extreme end of it. But it is represented the way that it's impulsiveness. it's like irresponsibility and criminality. Like those were like what he did.
Yeah.
And
so there could be like bad boy characters on TV or in movies.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about this one. I've been trying to rack my brain. I think we should talk to Aaron about it tonight.
Like ASPD insofar as like normal everyday people.
Yeah.
Because they're not like the fringe people.
I mean, I hate to say this, but you're kind of boring. Like, you're not really a TV character.
I am, personally, yes.
Yeah.
Quite boring.
The next question is, what were you in prison for?
Possession with intent to deliver some things to some people twice.
Heroin.
Retail thefts. Multiply 4 times, 5 times. Too many times. For like $1,000, if you add up all of my retail thefts, it's still under $100. It's what we call petty theft. Criminality. Irresponsibility.
And there was the brass knuckles.
Yeah, to make and manufacture, possess weapons. Brass knuckles?
Yeah, I got arrested for conspiracy and possession with intent to deliver heroin. So I only had 1 charge.
Thank goodness.
2 felonies,
one of us had to get it first.
How did you open your heart up to trust him? Well, I skipped one. We'll do this. How did you open your heart up again to trust him again? To trust him again or rebuild your relationship? I read a book. I read the 5 love languages. And there are 2 other ones by him. I can't remember what.
One of them is about apology. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not sorry.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. They're out there if you want to look at them. It's One More Try. And something about being sorry. I don't have the 5 love languages anymore. I give these books away like you would not believe.
They're so good.
They're the best books I've ever read. They literally saved our relationship. Before Greg got caught cheating,
When sorry isn't enough.
Yeah, when sorry isn't enough. When sorry isn't enough, One More Try, and the 5 love languages. There's probably dog fur flying everywhere because I'm covered in it.
See it.
I can see it floating, so I can only imagine the dust that is like picking up on the camera. Anyway, his aunt recommended the 5 love languages to us about a month before he got caught cheating. We were over there to clean her house and hang out, and she could tell that we weren't good. And I was pregnant, and she's just like, you guys should really pick this book up. So I bought it because I knew we were having a baby, and I got us 2 copies. I think, of all of them, and didn't really read it. I read it a month later while I was on vacation, the same vacation that he happened to cheat on me. And I remember discussing it with you while we were gone. Like, I was just starting to kind of work through the 5 love languages and realize, like, holy shit, I haven't been loving Greg enough.
Right.
Like, I literally realized this the day before I found out that he cheated. If that hadn't happened, this wouldn't be together.
Actually, the timing is kind of crazy.
I realized the day before that I was not showing him love the way that he needed, and he had been showing me so much love. And I didn't see it. We were just communicating. He was in acts of service, and I was a quality time. And then like and we've shifted, we've grown, but like, wow, was that eye opening? And then I went into it. When it happened, I was devastated. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought about leaving. I made plans to move home. And I called my mom. This actually goes into the next part of the question. It says, did any of your family members or friends try to break you guys up? No. My mom actually said, Megan, I bail you out of everything. I know that you love him and I know that he loves you. I'm not coming to get you. I think you should give it time. I think you should give it time and try to wait at least for the baby. And I said, okay. She'd never said no before. And I wanted to make it work. I wanted us to be okay. And I knew that I had fault too. And I realized, like, holy shit, I haven't told you all of this stuff about Scott. There's so much of me that I can finally open up and tell you about.
Right, because everything went on the table.
I've been holding all this baggage, and I'm grieving, and I'm upset about us. And then he had all this stuff about Megan that he had been hiding. So we both came together and realized, like, hey, we're not being honest, but we love each other. So then I decided to I couldn't do anything to make him stop with this relationship, and I didn't try. I put down my rules. I mean, I tried to make you not talk to her. You couldn't see her. She was in another state, so that helped. And I literally just lived my life being the best girlfriend I could for about 3 months. And it got to a point where I was like, you have to make a decision. And this is the life we can have. And we were good. We were happy, like really happy. July, August, like things were amazing. He decided to stay, cut ties with her completely. And that's when I noticed that shift start, when he started to just be a better boyfriend, be more present, care. His sister passed away in October, and November Emerson was born. And then it was dark. It was really dark for us for about 2 years, almost 3.
Yeah.
And Greg stayed by my side the entire time. I was sad. I was having intrusive thoughts, like irrational beliefs, all this stuff. And we did therapy. And it was just a choice I made, and I stuck to it. And I can't believe I did it. Literally can't believe that we did it.
Then when you talk about it like that, it seems even more like, damn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'm so proud of you for when you decided to stay, like you faced and owned up to your mistakes.
Yeah.
That was the first time you've ever done that.
For sure.
And you knew that I was hurt, and I was hurt because of you, and you didn't run away from it. And we literally haven't screamed at each other. We haven't fought. We haven't done any of that stuff since there was one incident where that happened.
They're just like
and that was about 5 years ago.
It allowed that honesty. Like, I don't know. It wasn't, neither of us had valued it before then, but like it's the most highly valued thing, I think, in our relationship now.
I've never had a relationship where I've been honest like this. I've always had one foot out the door. I've always had a backup plan. My backup plan is, I don't have it. This is it. Like, the first time ever I saw myself sitting at a table as an old woman with Greg, and like, I've never actually, I don't visualize things like that a lot. I don't see actual pictures. So to see that was just so amazing, and like, yeah. I feel like we finally made it to the other side, especially with Megan's comment and seeing how she reacted. Like,
for sure.
To know that I came out on top of it is so fucking powerful.
We put in the work. We put in the work.
Okay, so how do you deal with his manipulative tendencies, and what boundaries do you have in place to deal with his traits and your own? So manipulative tendencies, I think that, to be quite honest, I don't think you manipulate me anymore, but he gets kind of, is it manipulative? No, I don't really think you do. I think that you express what you want. There are times when he struggles to express what he wants, so I don't know how to say it. Emotion-wise.
Yeah.
You just struggle with your emotions, with verbalizing your emotions at times. Yeah. So sometimes you'll try to like work around it without saying what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But we've gotten so good at like circling back to the conversation and trying it again. We have conversations 10 times before we will finally be like, oh, this is what you're saying. And it's just patience.
Yeah. It's
patience, and I think that feeling seen helps you not want to manipulate. Like, you don't feel like you have to be...
It's a different way of communicating. Like, manipulating is kind of like a communication style, and this is like a different communication style that I'm still learning, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And like that. See, like that.
See, we will agree on something and be thinking the same thing, but say it 2 totally different ways. So we will have conversations where we're like, are we arguing and disagreeing, or are we saying the same thing? I think we're saying the same thing. What boundaries do you have in place to deal with his traits and your own? Well,
kind of like, you are so aware of like my behavior when I'm acting that way that you can immediately call me out on it because we have that honesty. Like, that I feel pretty comfortable is a good check. Like, my own kind of, the click, like, I describe it as like this. When I got better, it was like a very sudden shift of like a level up, kind of like, these behaviors are no longer like acceptable in my brain and not the default that I would do without thinking.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily need like actual things in place because I don't know.
Well, I have boundaries. So most of them are like from the older or like earlier days when we first started this journey. Like, I would check his phone. I was allowed to check his phone. He had to have location on.
But that's just
he had to have.
Anyway.
Yeah, sometimes he just doesn't tell me where he goes. It's like he forgets, and that's a big boundary for me. Like, you have to tell me. We have to communicate this stuff. So if I feel like he is not doing something, like if he's not doing it, I express it. I say, this is what you did. This is how it made me feel. This is why I feel like this. Right. And I have to communicate that stuff.
Yeah, otherwise I will not.
Yeah,
even know that it's a problem.
Okay, sorry. Just realized the mic's not been plugged in, and we're just gonna roll with it.
Professional.
The boundaries. You know what? Let's take this chair. Sorry for that, guys.
I don't even think she didn't hear anything.
Okay, the boundaries. The beginning, it was that he really, it's self-imposed things that he's chosen to do. What are the horns going off for?
Car alarm.
Oh.
Professionals.
He chooses not to have any friends. He chooses to have a smaller social circle. Those are things that he's choosing to do on his own. But if he were to have friends, he knows that I would like to be involved. I want to meet them. I want to go hang out with them. We want to do things as couples. And
there's no reason not to.
Yeah, and I know that people are going to be like, oh, that's codependency. Oh, da, da, da. We're fucking married.
It's also...
Like, we have a family. We have a kid. We spend all of our time together with our kid. We have hobbies and things we do alone.
But also, when you have been through what you've been through, like... you're allowed to not be comfortable with those same circumstances coming to pass. Like,
yeah,
of course. Like,
it would just take a little bit of time. It's not that I'm opposed to you having friends. I love that you have friends. I love James. I love Chris. I love the idea of that. But I also like that you involve me when we go rock climbing, so I know that nothing's going on while you're at the gym. Like, we have friends you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are certain things that he knows that he has to do. Like, when I have to communicate my emotions, he listens to me. He has learned that even if it's hard and he doesn't want to have the conversation for the 7th time, Megan is still upset and he has to hear it because it matters to me. And when he doesn't, I tell him, hey, you're not listening. This is bothering me. He's really good at figuring out, like, he doesn't quite understand why it's bothering me, but then it becomes like a challenge. Like, then after a point, it's like, how can we figure this out to fix it? Because he likes to fix things. So really, it's just about, the boundaries are put in place by me. I communicate them to him. I don't have anything anymore. I would definitely say that, like, the no female friends, like, it's not even that you don't have female friends. You do. It's just, you limit your entire social circle and include me. Right.
Including you is the part that
I've always just wanted to be included.
Right, yeah, from even beforehand.
Yeah, if you would have brought me up to the Megan thing, like, I always wanted to be included. It was just, you felt like you had to lie for some reason.
Right, that's, again, honesty.
Yeah, it's a valuable thing, and, like, God, I'm so glad that we have it.
Yeah.
Okay, what does love feel like for someone with ASPD?
Man, what a interesting question.
I mean, what would you compare it to?
Like, I don't know what it's like for someone without ASPD.
I don't have an answer.
Sorry, yeah, don't smack the desk, Greg. But it's like, I don't know. It's a warm and fuzzy feeling inside, kind of. Like, there's moments when we, like, are together and it's just, I'm grateful for everything that's around me, and I just know that this is the absolute best outcome that I could have ever asked for. And
last night,
I guess that's love to me, you know what I mean?
Last night, laying in bed, little Emerson was in between us, and he
let me sing him to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, he let me sing him the goodnight song, and, like, those are the moments where I'm just like, this is what it's about. That's love.
Greg is such an amazing father, and, like, that's the one thing that I don't tolerate. You guys can comment on anything about us, but when you bring my son into it and you criticize how we parent him, like, that's when I get pissed.
Yeah, without knowing anything at all.
Oh my God, Greg is the best freaking dad in the world. He taught Emerson how to ride a bike. He cooks us dinner every night. He gives him a bath. He cooks dinner. I don't do those things. I never do those things. I never have to. He takes Emerson to the park all the time. They ride mountain bike trails. Like, and then he's a good partner. He fixes everything. He takes care of things. He buys me gifts. He buys me makeup. He spoils me rotten. He literally waits on me hand and foot. Anything I ever ask, honey, can you go get me a glass of water? He can come from the kitchen, sit down on the couch, and I'll be like, can you get me a glass of water?
Acts of service.
Go get it. Like,
Acts
that's
of
just what he
service
does.
is how I show love.
And I have to actually check myself and make sure I'm not taking advantage of him, because I've done that. He spoiled me so much that I got to a point where I was asking so much of him that I wasn't doing it myself. And I'm like, no, if I won't do it myself, I'm not going to ask Greg to do it.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
But it was alright, because, again, that's how I show love, acts of service.
Yeah. So, like, the fact that you guys think that he's a loveless, heartless monster is just so far from the truth.
I'm
like,
constantly serving
is he
my family
callous?
with love.
Has he been callous in the past? Yes. Can he be callous now? Yeah, but more likely to strangers than to his actual family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has friends and family that he loves.
There's plenty
Y'all
of
just
people
don't know.
There's plenty of people I can ignore on the internet.
Yeah.
Like,
Have you guys ever talked about how you'd handle approaching raising a child with ASPD if you ever had one in your family? Are there ways you and your husband raised a child differently from how he was raised? And how do you explain... Oh, I'll get to that last question. Yeah, we raise Emerson now with the understanding that he is a little different.
right.
But we don't... Not, like, necessarily
know
has
how.
ASPD.
Don't know how, but we know that we need to pay very special care and attention to what is working and what doesn't, and try something different if what we're trying isn't working.
And
we have to outfit him with the absolute best tools that he can have.
We've also taken, like, the things that failed us as kids.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel like my feelings were validated enough, and I was taught to just not express them, to stuff them down. Like, my feelings weren't right, or like I was too much.
Yeah.
I was being too dramatic and stuff like that. So we make sure we validate his feelings. We make sure that we follow through on what we say. We never tell him something. We don't lie to him about anything. We don't gaslight him. And the only thing, and I even hate that, is like Santa Claus. Like, to me, that's a lie.
I was talking about it.
Literally debated if I wanted to lie to him about that, because I don't lie about anything. If we tell him that the gate is shut and it's not, we did it one time and we thought about it and we're like, why are we gaslighting
It's
him?
literally gaslighting. It's priming your kid to, like,
not trust you.
Yeah, and I never want my kid to not trust me or not feel like he can come to me about anything.
Yeah, so we always talk everything. We try to talk things through as he learns how to
trust he is like because he's smart. He's smart enough to that we are good enough to break it down in a way that he can process, understand, and grow from whatever.
And he's an autonomous little boy, and we try to teach him how to be like that. We don't want him to think that he can't do something or is not capable. Also, how do you plan to explain your husband's unique mind to your kid one day? We already explained the prison thing, as much as a 4-year-old can understand. So we also do kind of talk about you being a little different. When Greg will be more likely to react, what's the word I want to say? I don't want to say with anger, but stern.
Yeah.
You are a hothead, but you don't ever direct that at him.
No.
But like when you say no, like he's just
I'm a little harsher.
Yeah. He's the bad cop. He's well, not always. I'm the bad cop for a lot of things too. We alternate roles, but like sometimes I have to tell Greg, hey, you need to just go for a minute. I'll take Emerson. Yeah. He has to do the same thing for me. There are moments when I am just like too frustrated, too burnt out and I need a moment. So I think that, how would we do that? Like, do you think that counts as telling him we're different? Like, he knows that mommy is depressed.
Yeah. Like, I think that in a household like the one we're trying to foster, it'll just kind of, it will be understood, like, and discussed openly. Like, we will openly discuss mental health in this house forever. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think it's like a discussion to have, more like a way to help him grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he knows that I have periods of time where I'm depressed and I can't get out of bed, and he doesn't quite understand it, and we still say that mommy's just sick or sad, you know, and he's trying, and he like always comes in, gives me a hug, lays with me, asks me if I'm feeling better, but like it's gonna be something that he's exposed to. It's just part of our life,
right.
And I think that that's just how, as he gets older, he'll see more and more of both sides of us. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever thought about starting your own YouTube channel? You have many interesting stories.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if people are aware how much work it is to make a video. Like, how much work these videos take. If I did that, I would not have time to do the fun things that I like to do. Like,
and he doesn't respond to the comments.
Yeah, you will have to settle for my feature appearances on here, and maybe I can do it more solo. I only did one solo video.
Yeah, he
does
have a channel. I haven't even
watched that one.
He does have a channel. It just is it's videos of him and Emerson riding bikes.
Yeah, exploring the tunnel. I think is that on there?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a good one. Go check it out.
We'll link it
like and subscribe.
As someone who also struggles with ASPD, I want to ask Greg, do you feel emotionally neutral at most times? I would describe it as a feeling of just existing in the moment, but I was wondering how you might describe such a thing if you feel it too. Oh, are you familiar with the term alexithymia? That's the not recognizing emotions.
That's right.
And if so, do either of you struggle with it?
So I don't know. Yeah, emotionally neutral is probably a good way to describe it. But I am like easily excitable. Like I am very sensation seeking and like to be
he
titillated.
stims when you get him, when you see him get really excited, like he'll stim with his hands. And yeah, I think that's a good way to describe you. Most times you are just like, it's just
and
a low
prone to excitable on the angry side too. Like I'm swingy a little bit almost.
Yeah.
But in the middle, I guess I'm probably neutral.
Yeah.
And then either up here or down here or in the middle. No in between.
Woo!
Yeah.
We were talking about the alexithymia, and I can recognize emotions in other people. We're not sure if this quite fits, but I recognize emotions in other people, but I always assume that like a negative emotion is always, no matter what the negative emotion is, it's like the same level. So like the only way I can describe this is there was a night when I mildly annoyed him, and I thought he was like pissed.
Yeah,
and he's like tried to explain to me that like it's not that deep, and I'm like, but you were upset with me. And it's like I noticed the emotion as like negative, and I assume
like
that it's bad and it's my fault.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the same thing. There's more dog hair flying around. Sorry, I'm petting her. Jazzy's still in my lap. But I think that's that I can recognize emotions within myself.
Me too.
Yeah, I have no issues with that, but I have trouble encoding what other people's emotions mean. If that makes sense, and to the severity of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With recovery/mental health, how do you get over the hump of realizing that you have to make an effort to be content with life, knowing that others just wake up and feel okay with no effort?
I don't know if you do, like...
Greg still struggles. I'm better at it than he is, but he still really struggles with boredom.
Yeah.
That's why he goes mountain biking.
Yeah. I gotta be doing something.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know.
I'm the one that pays the bills. I'm the one that, like, I keep the household in order, and he keeps it running. He keeps it fixed and maintained and going, but, like, I am the machine that keeps it going, if that makes sense. And I think that we both just bring out the best in each other. We have enough of opposite qualities that they balance out.
Yeah, we really do, like, complement one another really well.
I'm terrible at time. He's an internal clock like you would not believe. So I can't manage time. I can't be on time, but he can keep me on time. He can't think forward to pay the bills. I've got all the bills paid. They're all on auto pay, and I know what's being paid when. Like, I clean, he cooks, he does the yard work, I do the laundry. Like, it's a really good balance.
Relationship.
He gives me a lot of free time so that like he'll take Emerson so I can have free time, and then I take Emerson so he can go on solo bike rides. Like, we're so good. We really pair well with each other.
Yeah, I can't ask for a better partner.
But I honestly don't know how I would fend for myself. I know that I'm capable of doing it. But damn, would that suck to get a new routine. Because I'm so used to being able to have a reliable partner that I'm spoiled. I feel like I'm spoiled rotten. Second half of that question. Also, how did you change your mindset to want to be sober versus being sober because you hate the consequences? I don't know. The consequences got so bad. I genuinely think that being sober is because the consequences got so bad, so we stopped. And then life just went on long enough that it was just like, that's life without it. Right?
Did you... Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say Sally's second alphabet question? That's what I heard.
Second half of the question. Okay. Are you really?
I was really stuck on that.
I could see your face. I was like, you like looked
I was like, where is that on the screen?
You looked at me like I was lying, and I'm like, why is he looking at me like that? Okay, the second half of the question. That was adorable. That second alphabet question.
I was like, what?
Okay, the second half of the question. Also, second half of the question. How did you change your mindset to want to be sober versus being sober because the consequences got so bad?
Gotcha. That's kind of actually like the same thing to me. Like, that is why I am sober, because losing the things that I love.
Yeah, that's what I said. The consequences got so bad that's why I stopped, and then just enough time went by that we're just living life like this without drugs.
Yeah.
But the consequences are still very much real. Like, I am terrified of Greg stealing and going to jail. Like, I don't ever want that to ever happen.
I don't think you can forget the consequences. Like, I don't think that's a smart move.
Yeah. It's like once you have to remember that all the time.
Play the tape the whole way through.
When did you recognize that when did both of you recognize you belonged with each other?
I don't know. A long time ago.
Yeah.
But, like...
I fell in love the moment I met him at a party. He walked in, and we were talking about this, because Greg doesn't have a good memory, and it's like, how do you remember the first night that we met? If he can't remember anything, like, he doesn't remember how I met so many people. Yeah. Well, tell him how you remember.
She threw up on me.
And?
Orange sparks. And almost made me get beat up. Because...
by a much taller guy.
Much bigger guy. And, like, for some reason, she latched on to me, the smallest guy in the room, to, like, super drunk.
I was a
like, please. You were a damsel in that moment.
I was.
And, I was the white knight, the knight in shining armor.
And he was respectful. He didn't do anything to me. He let me pass out on him, and then I threw up.
Man. Oh, I had tangerine chucks, and they were more tangerine after that.
My body was literally stained orange the next night. I went to a concert or a show the next night, and it was stained orange.
And
but
I moved in a couple weeks later.
Days. Like, literally a couple days.
Yeah.
But when I realized that we were supposed to be together was when I messaged you on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that sounds right.
When we reconnected, which was New Year's Eve, January 2014, going. And as soon as I messaged him, I was like, holy shit, this is who I love. Yeah, a feeling I had not felt in so long, and I thought I hated you. And I was like, no, I don't hate you. I don't hate you.
I'm glad you don't hate me. That would be a bummer.
Can someone with ASPD feel true unconditional love for another person? This is a big one in the comments too.
I like to think so. Like, as far as I understand unconditional love, like, they want to be like, it's Christ's love, like, or like
we don't buy into that.
Or take it like that far, like, insofar as a human can express unconditional love. But yes, I think I unconditionally love you. Yeah,
I think in that video, I didn't nail it. I didn't name it correctly. I think I said, like, if you made mistakes, if I were paralyzed, if you cheated. It would be like, I love you despite the fact that you can't pay the bills. Like, you can't remember to pay the bills. I love you despite the fact that you don't throw trash away and you set it right beside the trash can. I love you despite the fact that you're 5 feet tall. That's how I view unconditional love. And I love you despite the things you've done to me because we've worked through them.
Right.
So it's not like I'm just like, I think people think I I forgive you for what, like, I have forgiven you for what you've done, but it took a long time to get that trust back.
The entirety of you as a person, like, I love. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel confident in our love, and I don't ever expect anyone to understand it.
I don't think unconditional love should be detached from the person you're loving. Like, I think as they frame unconditional love, it's like like you love that person no matter what. Divorce, almost detached from who they are.
Yeah.
Like their actions or behaviors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I don't think I understand it like they do, and that's okay because I'm happy and I love you. Okay.
My definition of love encompasses unconditional love.
In what way do people with ASPD have an advantage over people who experience normal emotions?
I don't agonize over any of my past mistakes or like meetings or like not having guilt. Like, that's a little strong. Not experiencing guilt most of the time. Like, is pretty nice.
Aren't bothered by things people say online.
Yeah.
You don't care enough to even check. Like, if I have a bad run-in with somebody and, like, I feel like it went poorly, I will rehash that in my head, like, 50 times.
That doesn't sound fun.
Greg doesn't remember it, like, for a day.
Yeah. That is a superpower.
Do we have plans for marriage?
When it's not actually financially detrimental to us.
Getting married would actually cost us more money in the long run.
In the short run, in the
short run. Yeah.
run.
Well, obviously because a wedding costs money, but like health insurance, just all of it would change. Now it's a little bit less that I'm not working, but
we are married though.
Yeah, we're married in the sense that he's my partner.
I've never been one for commitment until us, until this version of us.
I mean, I was married before, but even then, I still had a backup plan.
The sanctity of marriage is questionable. This marriage means something to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The institution of marriage is not that important to me.
I mean, it's just a piece of paper to me. The piece of paper it doesn't mean anything more than what we've already got.
Right, exactly.
I don't feel like we could just walk away from this right now. We can't just break up because I feel like we're that connected. In South Carolina, I worked with someone at Panera down there that told me this. That's where that came from, South Carolina. They said that we were common law married. You have to live with someone for 6 months. Yeah. But in Pennsylvania, that's not a thing. So, having ASPD, I know it can be difficult to show/express empathy and certain emotions, coming off as cold or that you don't care. They experience that with their boyfriend. It says, Greg, how have you been able to open up and communicate your feelings towards Meg? It's just funny. I never actually said it out loud.
You don't really go by Meg.
My dad calls me Meg. Showing how you do love her and how you do care about her and how she feels. Like, how do you show me that you... I
feel like we kind of answered that a couple times, but...
He struggled in the past.
Yeah.
Like, physically struggled to verbalize the words. Like, he couldn't...
It used to be way worse. Yeah, it used to be way worse where I couldn't even, physically make words come out of my mouth.
He would get so mad, so angry, throw his phone down, not at me, not mad at me. Mad because he wanted to tell me something and couldn't articulate it. Did you know what you wanted to say? Yeah. You just couldn't say it?
Yeah.
Because, I'm mad, and then you just couldn't say I'm mad?
Well, I mean, it was never that simple. It was yeah, but effectively, yes. Yeah, in the form of, yes, I knew the words, I knew exactly what words I wanted to say. I just literally couldn't make them come past my lips.
It says, how is she able to differentiate your personality and feelings in the ASPD? I don't think I quite understand that.
I don't think you do, because I think, it's part of who I am, so it's just, that's part of my personality.
And it doesn't hurt me anymore. Who he is isn't hurting me. Who he is used to hurt me. It used to hurt, but he's not. He's not as selfish anymore. You really take the time to care about how I feel. The next one says, how do you feel knowing that he can't love you genuinely? That would suck. That would suck.
If that was the case.
But that's not the case. I genuinely feel loved. I feel more loved than I've ever felt loved in my whole life. And I don't expect anyone to ever understand that, because I know our relationship is so atypical and such a unicorn.
Yeah.
So I don't expect you guys to get it, and I appreciate the ones that do get it, and
Sorry.
No, you're fine. And I especially appreciate the ones that try to get it. But I don't appreciate the ones that tell me how it is.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
I'm living
You're wasting your time, people.
Is it ever a source of frustration as Greg takes a more cognitive approach to empathizing with your emotions? And is it awkward for him in times of emotion? Yes.
Such a good question.
Yes. Yes. A source of frustration? Hell yes. Especially when I am so bothered by something. Like, I used an
It's
example.
rational and irrational. Like, I am nothing if not rational, and when I see something that you're upset about as irrational, it can be hard for me to, like, do the things I need to do to help you through that or whatever.
And it's so hard. I can't just turn it off. I can't just be like, okay, it's irrational, now I'm done thinking it. If I'm having an irrational belief, we've actually gotten to this point now where I can express that to him. Like, that is like a new level for us. That's a recently unlocked level. Like, I suffer from irrational beliefs and anxiety and just intrusive thoughts a lot. And so I will tell him, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Even if it's the most off-the-wall batshit things ever. Like, I'm afraid we're gonna die because I haven't been in the car and I don't like going above 55 miles per hour, blah, blah, blah. Like, I will tell him, like, I'm afraid that the cars behind us are gonna hit us right now.
Kind of rational, by the way.
But like,
yeah, no. It is, I understand.
Like, whatever fear I'm having at that moment, if it's like, sometimes it is really, really crazy irrational, and I'm like, okay.
When you say, you were able to say, this is an irrational thing, but we still need to deal with it.
Yeah, I addressed that it's irrational, but like, so Jess was moving and she didn't text me, and I got so stressed that she was mad at me, and I like, didn't know what I did, and I just said it to him, and he's like, honey, that's irrational. He's like, you should just talk to her. So I did, and he was right, but it was like, that helped. Like, it helps me to be able to see that my thoughts are irrational, but it is frustrating when before it was worse, when I couldn't get him to understand, like, I know this shit is irrational,
right,
and my feelings are ruling me right now, but I don't know how to reel them in. So now that we are on the same page that, like, I want these reeled in, I just don't know how to do it, he helps me. But so yeah, the frustration, it's still there, definitely still there. And then, and the awkwardness, like, yeah, he definitely understand. He definitely, like, I can see him being like, do we have to have this conversation again? Like, I literally will talk about something so many times, it's not even funny, and each time is different. Like, I will be like, well, maybe this is happening.
Oh, yeah,
maybe this is happening.
In such a way that I can tell you've been thinking about it since the last time we talked about it.
Yeah.
There was no time off.
No, never is. Not in this brain. Would he make a good counselor due to his natural empathy, objectivity?
Maybe. I think I'm very good at, like, I'm a fixer. Like, I am constantly plotting the solution to whatever problem is put in front of me. So, maybe so.
I think
probably
we'd be a great couple.
Yeah, probably would also steer people the wrong direction a little bit too often.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be a great counselor. I think that we could do it together. I think that we would make a really well-rounded counselor together.
Yes.
Because he's got like a friend that's younger, that he really like sees a lot of his own behaviors in. We're always talking about him, always trying to see how to help him, because he's just like young, 21, you know.
Doing great, but I only wish I could have had like the setup that he has right now.
Yeah, don't want him to lose that.
All done by, like, he's done it all himself. Like.
Yeah, but I always chime in and give like a different female perspective, so I don't think you could do it on your own.
No.
Sorry.
Not at all. No offense. My throat is so scratchy.
Drink as much as you need.
I know, but it's just because I'm talking so much. I don't talk this much.
What motivated the both of you to get better or improve yourselves? Was it the same thing, or is the reason different for both of you? Mine was a fear of consequences because I got arrested and went to jail, and that is not something I ever expected. And I have a very close family that's like, I lived with my mom when I got out of jail. I had a strong support system. It was like, Megan, you know better. A lot of disappointment, a lot of, you know, hurt my grandpa's feelings, my pap and my gram. So like for me, it was, damn it, I know fucking better than this. And it wasn't always easy, but once I realized that I knew better and deserved better, I just did better.
Yeah. I don't know, there's been a bunch of times that I've gotten better and improved myself, and each time it's a little different. But, like, consequences, not wanting to hurt people, not wanting to hurt you. Especially. Consequences,
I think, for both of us, then.
Yeah.
Consequences are a good thing. Jail and prison is a good thing if done correctly.
Yeah, it needs to be about rehabilitation.
Exactly. If done while also treating the addiction or mental health issue underneath of it, because you just can't punish them. But if you do something like a TC, a therapeutic community, or like I had my pastor come in and counsel me every week, like you have to do things like that. So then the last one is actually about Suboxone and sex. I'm glad this one was saved for last. Has being on Suboxone for an extended period of time negatively affected the sexual intimacy of your relationship?
I don't think. I mean, there has been, like, a dip. Like, it does affect it. It's not... We've managed to negate that, I think.
It affects me.
Yeah. And probably me in a less bad way.
I think for us, it has always been... sex is a big part of our relationship, and I had to realize that. I had a lot of trauma like sexual trauma in my adolescence, teenage years, and that affected us. So like the first time we dated, our sex life was different than the second time we dated.
Yeah.
And Greg had to learn that. And that was part of our healing process, was really learning to respect my needs and wants while also meeting his needs and wants. And it's like we put it all on the table and like, this is what I like, this is what I need, and like all of it. Like we know all of our dirty kinks and desires and wants, and like we've accepted them, and we meet them and respect each other's, and it's very open. Sex happens more often now than it's ever happened, and that's, well, I wouldn't say ever, but when I was pregnant, it was a lot.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, true.
That was a little crazy.
Yeah,
but
that's an outlier.
But we are constantly feeding into each other. Like, we have to make time for it. We have a kid. Yeah. So for a while there, we scheduled sex for Sundays, and it was the best thing. It worked, because then you knew, like, oh hey, it's gonna happen Sunday.
I had at least had that.
Yeah. So now, when we don't schedule it per se anymore, but like we make sure that we let each other know, like, hey, I'm thinking about this. You want to do this later?
Right.
And like we have to make time.
Honesty, open communication.
And we are playful enough throughout our day that we are constantly like flirting and affectionate, and believe it or not, we do show affection to each other.
Yeah.
And we like to have that like little tease because it makes things better later. And I think that the issue people have with intimacy and Suboxone and stuff like that is you're not giving yourself enough of a preheat.
Yeah.
You're not building it up. You have to be building it up. It's more than just foreplay. It's like you got to be having that foreplay like all fucking day.
Suboxone is very good at deadening a little bit, just a little bit of I don't know. You gotta kind of...
Yeah, it's psychological, it's physical, it numbs you physically and mentally, and you have to be a little bit more proactive about it. You have to be flirtatious, you have to be touchy and lovey and feely, and you have to know that sometimes your partner's not going to feel it, and sometimes they might want to. This is a big thing for me. I might want to, but I physically feel a resistance, and that resistance is okay, and it's totally up to me to decide if I want to cross that hump or not.
Right.
It's not his choice, and he respects that. So once you guys get that understanding, and it's like really just like we have signals, you know, we'll be in bed and we have signals like, if this happens and I do this, that's a yes.
Right.
If I don't do this, it's a no.
Right.
And he never pushes it. I feel like I talked a lot during that. Do you have anything to say?
No, that was great.
Yeah, I feel like I'm more sexually satisfied than I've ever been, and I hope to God that it's like, I hope everybody else could find this.
Right.
Because
you have to find the balance point. Like, you have to know, like, I don't know. You said it all. I can't say it better.
Yeah. Sex is important. You have to have sex. You have to have the amount of sex that you are okay with, though, too. There's no standard for, you shouldn't be, it's not, do it every night, do it once a week, do it once a month.
Some people may really not. But
well, yeah, that's true. But
to each their own.
But sex is also a lot of different things. It's not just
true. Yeah.
Penetration.
100%.
Sex to me is a lot more than that.
It is a long
and we are very open-minded when it comes to things like sexuality and just all of that. So I think that really helps. If you guys ever need good advice. What's his name?
Dan Savage.
Dan Savage.
The Savage Lovecast. It's one of the
seriously
the
best
OG podcasts out there.
And that's one of the best things that helped our sex life. Like, he has opened my eyes to a lot of things. And it's not so much that, like, I was naive. I just, hearing it from someone else helps.
Right. And you have to also understand everything else that's out there to understand what you have. I think sometimes it helps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But awesome. Yeah. We did it. Oh,
yay.
I have 2 questions. Can we answer?
Quickly.
Okay. Are you high?
No. Medical cannabis is my high of choice.
Yeah.
But
we're both on Suboxone and recovery, but he does medical cannabis.
Marijuana?
Yeah.
Yeah, medical cannabis.
That was it. That's it. I just wanted to add that at the end.
It makes sense.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was fun. I hope you loved this. I loved this.
These are my real soulless eyes.
Mine too.
I'm not. I have a soul. Well,
all right.
That's a whole other
You
thing.
have a soul, in theory, if you believe in that.
Yeah. All those caveats, yes. I have a soul.
That's
that's my problem.
That's the problem with Greg. He's like, read lots of books. I haven't read lots of books. He's read more books than anybody I've ever met. And he tried to tell you that he doesn't read. Because he hasn't read enough
all the books.
recently.
I haven't read all the books.
All right, guys. We love you. Be weird. Be kind. Bye.